Hello, wrestling fans. Blake Smith from Walking the Ropes, and welcome to another episode of Walking the Ropes Wrestling Review for AEW Rampage from Bridgeport, Connecticut. To open the show, we had a TNT Championship match. Sammy Guevara defending against Andrade El Idolo. Andrade looks to change the fortune of the AHFO as they have been on a bit of a losing skid as of late and have fallen short in their attempts to claim the TNT Championship. Sammy is one of the most athletic members of the roster, and he's holding on to that championship like his life depends on it. Quickly, we spill to the outside, and Andrade looks to use the title, but the ref stops him, and instead we go back in the ring, and he channels Eddie as he goes for the Three Amigos, but Sammy fights out and stops all momentum of Andrade. They're moving and flipping around the ring, and both men are hitting very hard moves, with Sammy hitting a Spanish fly off the top rope. Andrade then distracts the ref so Matt can take the top turnbuckle off of the corner. They aren't able to really do anything with it yet. Sammy then climbs up to the top rope of the exposed corner. They go back and forth on the top turnbuckle, and then Sammy kicks out the legs of Andrade and knocks Andrade into the exposed turnbuckle. He then is able to hit the springboard cutter, and he gets the win. Sammy Guevara defeats Andrade El Idolo to retain the TNT Championship. From my Malteser scale, I give this a 3.75 out of 5. It was a very good match. I loved it. They did really awesome as far as like the way they sold things and everything. I think they I think they did awesome for sure. For the WTR scale, I gave it a 4 out of 5. The story for the build for this was just great. They were really hinting at stuff going on in the AHFO. Obviously, we're talking about potentially having Matt break, it looks like that's happening very soon. It looks awesome. Hardy then jumps Sammy after the match, and Sting and Darby come out to make the save. QT Marshall then comes out bitching about Hook, saying he built and made Hook, and he calls out Hook, which when he comes out, QT then sends all of his factory students, and Hook then takes them out as QT just watches on and doesn't really do anything. Dan Lambert talks about getting Scorpio Sky a shot at getting in the ladder match, so he's got a qualifier for the Face of the Revolution ladder match, and Scorpio kind of looks pissed because he already won that match last year and just wants the title match instead. Paige and Dan tell them that they're going to get him that title match, but maybe he has to qualify for the ladder match first. We then get a singles match, Wardlow versus Nick Comoroto, and Wardlow probably faces his biggest challenge tonight, as Nick is actually larger than Wardlow himself, and he overpowers him for the majority of the match. Nick is tossing Wardlow around the ring, and Wardlow really can't get anything going until he hits a chokeslam out of nowhere. He then pretty much quickly hits a powerbomb, starts up the symphony, and hits a total of 4 powerbombs for the win. Wardlow defeats Nick Comoroto, and from a Malteser scale, I gave this a 3.25 out of 5. It was a very good match. I mean, we pretty much expect this out of Wardlow, but I'm glad they put him up against somebody bigger like Nick, and it gave him a bit of a challenge. I shouldn't say he struggled with him, but Nick definitely stunned him and was able to overpower Wardlow, proving that Wardlow can be beaten. You have to really think about the way you attack him. For my WTR scale, I gave it a 4 out of 5 for the reasons I had just basically said. They are really clearly building Wardlow as this big man, and they want to prove that, yeah, he's a big man, but other big men are really strong as well, and, this ladder match is full of some big men, so maybe Wardlow isn't as surefire of a win as some of us might think. After the match, Spears starts telling Wardlow he should stop doing the powerbomb because it's not getting over, even though Wardlow is arguably one of the most over members of the roster today. He tells Wardlow to just go for the win instead, and how proud of him MJF and himself are. I mean, Wardlow just looked pretty pissed off during all this because it's obvious Wardlow is over, and it's obvious that the Pinnacle is trying to hold him back because they think he will supersede them, and they're probably right. We then get the Professor's 5-minute challenge. Serena Deeb versus Kayla Sparks. Deeb jumps Sparks before the bell even rings, and then she chokes her with the robe and then starts to beat her down as she sets her up on the top turnbuckle and locks in a unique set of submissions. She had initially done what basically looks like a torture rack almost, and then she switched to targeting the knee and just wrenching on her, just basically smashing her into the lower turnbuckle. She had her up in a tree of woe at that point, basically. Sparks then tries her best to fight back, but Deeb stops all momentum and then locks in the Serenity Lock for the win. I believe the time said about a minute and a half had gone by. It was about 3:40 left. Serena Deeb defeats Kayla Sparks. For my Teaser scale, I gave this a 2.75 out of 5. I mean, it was a good match for sure, but we have seen this 3-4 times now, and I want to see her start to struggle a little bit against these challengers. It's a good story, but I think the challengers need to start stepping it up a little bit more and more each week. For the WTR scale, I gave this a 3 out of 5 because I do have faith they're going to be doing that. It just remains to be seen when, who, and how often. Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker are in the ring to sign their contract for Revolution. Rosa signs first and says she's going to give the people what they want, a new champion. Britt then talks about their lights out match and says Rosa won, so why is Britt the one getting talked about? She's got a figure, she's got the shirt, she is the one to really come out popular out of that match. Britt says that that Rosa will never be her, and says Rosa's mad that she'll never be Britt. Britt signs, and then Rosa jumps her, and Jamie and Rebel stop Rosa, and before really anything happens, Mercedes Martinez makes her way out, and comes to the ring to even the score, and sends Jamie through the table, because it's a contract signing. You gotta break the table. We then get the main event contenders talking about their match coming up. Orange thinks this is the ladder match. He's then informed by Wheeler Yuta that this is not, in fact, the ladder match. It is the qualifier for the ladder match, and he's excited because, well, that just means he has to wrestle. The Acclaimed kind of scoff, and well, they don't believe he can wrestle, so they think he stands no chance. The Acclaim just didn't seem to have it tonight. Their chirps just weren't there as much as they used to. They have been over the last few weeks. Everything just seemed a little off for the Acclaim today. The Face of the Revolution ladder match, qualifier match. Orange Cassidy versus Anthony Bowens. The Acclaimed come out rapping like normal, but this is really the first time it felt a little dry. Like, I normally pop pretty hard for some of the stuff they say. This just didn't work. Orange is then tossed the mic. He says, yo, and puts his hands in his pockets, and then he sends Caster to the outside by help of Wheeler Yuta, and then sends Bowens to the outside while still having the mic in his hand. He then says word to your mother, and then continues to beat down Bowens until Caster gets involved, allowing Bowens to take control. This is a cool match because with Ricky being in the ladder match now, we aren't doing the big man ladder match, but we're also not doing the typical ladder match where we have a bunch of high flyers in there either, as Ricky isn't really a high flyer, and neither are Bowens or Cassidy. I mean, yeah, they have some high-flying elements compared to Wardlow, Powerhouse Hobbs, Keith Lee, but it's not the same level. I mean, Keith Lee is arguably the most high flyer in this match, in my opinion, so far. And this is shaping up to be a very interesting ladder match because of that. Orange picks up the pace and starts to take control. He fights off Caster, and this allows Bowens to take control for a moment. Orange then takes out both men and hits multiple DDTs in the ring for a near fall. Bowens then tries to take out Orange, but he won't give in, so Caster goes to cheat, and, that Danhausen comes in and stops him, and he curses Orange to get, he then gets, we focus back onto the ring. Orange hits the Orange Punch, and he gets the win. Orange Cassidy defeats Anthony Bowens to qualify for the Face of the Revolution ladder match. It was a very good match, actually. For my Malteser scale, I gave this a 3.75 out of 5. They did amazing. For the WTR scale, I gave it a 3.75 as well. The story for that, I mean, these are just ladder matches. They do kind of come out of nowhere, but they were able to work something really well into it, and it worked awesome. My overall for the show is a 4 out of 5. They did really awesome, and we're building for Revolution. We still have 2 more shows before Revolution, another Dynamite and another Rampage. And yeah, we are steamrolling our way there. For my segment of the night, I gotta give it to the contract signing. They did really well, and they make me really care about this, and I really think Rosa's gonna win. I really, really do. My match of the night is the TNT Championship match. They did absolutely amazing. And my performers of the night, it goes to Britt and Thunder Rosa. They did a really great job of making that, what do you call it? The contract signing feel like it was really important to them, and I really enjoyed that. But that is all for this episode of Walking the Ropes Wrestling Review. Thank you all for dropping in. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get notifications whenever we upload a video. And I'll see you in the next one.